call this meeting to order. Would you stand and do the pledge with me, please? And a roll call, please.
Lanius.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Dallenbach.
Yes.
Grover.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Holland.
Present.
Okay. I need an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Hill, second by Dallenbach. Or, was it Grover? Okay, I hear it coming from that side. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. We have no public comment for tonight, so we'll go on to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: the minutes of the October 27th, 2014 regular meeting. Motion by Dallenbach, second it.
Second.
Second by Holland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Need a motion to approve the bills.
So moved.
Motion by Holland, second by
Second.
Brown. Okay. Roll call, please.
Holland.
Yes.
Lanius.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Dallenbach.
Yes.
Grover.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Motion approved. Petitions from the public. To start with, we have Larry Berger from Spear Financial to to review and provide an updated TIF report.
Thank you, Mayor. Larry Berger from Spear Financial, and this is our annual update to our TIF report. You should all have binders like this at home. If you don't, let us know. We can get you some to update them.
We can't find
These updates come faster and faster every year. I don't know why that is. Anyway, if I could just take 5 minutes of your time, I'd like to just remind you how to read the TIF report. Just starting with the red section, this is a summary of your general obligation bonds, principal, and then principal and interest payments. If you'll notice in the top boxes, we do identify the interest rate that these bonds are issued at, the principal amount that they were issued at, and then if you'll notice, for example, under 2007, there's a light line under there. That is the call provision. So if you see 2007, the bonds will be callable in June of 2015. So we will be taking a look at those as we do every year for any possibilities of refunding them out, getting a lower interest rate, and paying them off if you have cash. But that's when you can do that, starting actually in March of this year. We can take care of that. We have lines for the call provisions under each one of those. So we have 2007, 9, 11, 13A. You turn the page, we have a 13B, and then the second from the left-hand column is your total principal that you have outstanding in general obligation bonds. If you notice at the bottom, we've drawn an arrow, and you have $4,530,000 in principal outstanding in general obligation bonds. We give you a column with your total principal and interest payment, and then the yellow column, I'll show you where we get that number in just a second. That is that you buy down your general obligation bonds with certain revenues. And in this case, you're buying down next year's general obligation bonds with $111,992.50 in TIF revenue that you bring in. This is a certification that you have to make every year, December 1st. And so I'll show you where we get that number. You also buy down some of your general obligation bonds with local option sales tax revenue and then some sewer revenues. So the right-hand column in the red section, and we've got an arrow pointed to 2016. That's what you will be working on for your budget next year. You need to levy a minimum of $205,985 in the debt service fund for your budget process next year, if indeed you bring in all of those revenues to buy down the debt.
You might be going to go over this, but we have a number of new council members, and we can levy up to, you might, if you want to explain that for that 4 million number there.
Yeah, that's your debt capacity, and we'll go through a chart that
Okay.
shows that, if
All right.
that's okay.
Okay.
I'll talk about it then, if
All right.
that's okay. Then if you turn the page, we give you a kind of a tan-colored page. This really doesn't have anything to do with your debt capacity, but we just remind you that you do have a 2005 sewer revenue bond, $3.3 million outstanding. You notice that the call is June of 15 on this one, so we will be taking a look, because with today's rates, it is a fairly high interest rate at 4.8. We've been waiting for that call to come, and so we will be taking a look at that and working with city staff to identify if there's an opportunity to refinance that out and get a lower interest rate. So you can see, though, you pay all of this off with sewer revenues, so there's no taxes levied on your sewer revenue 2005 note. Turn the page. This is the purple section. This is all of your rebates that you have outstanding. Across the top, we've got Tyson's, Bogle, Wapsie Creamery, Greater Manufacturing. And what we do is we list the values that we show on each one of these under the column that says rebate. This is the estimated amount that you are going to rebate back to the companies. A rebate is an agreement that the city has signed. After they pay their taxes, then you have agreed to pay them back a certain portion of those taxes. So we've identified all of the rebates that are outstanding. Turn the page, we've got Wapsie Creamery then again, and then the total value that we show on the properties. The center column is the total aggregate amount of rebates, and there's two different ways of doing rebates. If indeed you put in there a clause in the rebate agreement that is an annual appropriation, then you only have to count that annual payment back to the developer against your debt capacity that we're gonna talk about. If you do not have that annual appropriation clause in there, and all that takes is the council every year to say, yes, we're gonna give them back the rebate, then the entire amount counts against it. So if you have $1 million rebate total, $100,000 a year for 10 years, if you don't have an annual appropriation in there, you have to count the whole $1 million against your debt capacity. If you have an annual appropriation clause in there, then you only have to count the $100,000 a year against your debt capacity. So it's very important, and sometimes developers don't like the annual appropriation because future council may choose not to rebate back their money. And so this is something that you want to keep track of, because the court system has identified that the total amount of the rebate counts against your debt capacity unless you have annual appropriation. So if you'll notice the right-hand column on the purple, you have rebates this year of $35,000, estimated rebates of $35,900, $28,000 next year, $35,000 the following year, and so on. Questions so far? Turn the page one more time. The yellow section, this is the amount of money that you have to certify to your urban renewal or your TIF area. We've only got one general obligation bond, that's the 2009 street improvement bond that we certify part of that to the urban renewal area. This is where we get the yellow column in your red section from this number. And then you'll notice that purple are all of your rebate agreements, 3528 as we just talked about. The economic development, we on our records show that you are giving them 17.5 this current year. We don't show anything for the future year, so if you have an agreement, we would like to see that, just so we can put it in the report. And so the amount of the TIF certification, and this has to be done by the council by December 1, maybe you've already done it, but we do have to certify this to the county auditor by December 1. The minimum you want to certify to your TIF area to meet all of your obligations, according to our records, is $137,902.52. That is the year FY16, and we've got an arrow pointed to that. The last section in our, This is where we talk about your debt capacity, the green section. I'm gonna read down in column 2. We give you 1 year's history. So we've got 100% of the value of the city. This is where your constitutional debt limit comes from. 100% of your value is $320,181,834. 5%, which is in the Constitution, you can't issue over 5% of your 100% value. So that calculates out to $16,009,092. You'll notice from the red section, the total principal that is owed is $4,530,000. The total rebates without annual appropriations is $14,705.88. You're going to pay back $605,000 in principal on your general obligation.